Here I am again. I am having way too much fun with this. But I was thinking about today. If I move to Olympia, which it looks like I'm going to, when I move to Olympia, I may be commuting, especially if I get this job. Um, it's a really good job. It's like a coordinator, like an intake specialist for a veterans group. And I would really like to have that job. I really would. I was thinking today that I will be doing a lot of commuting. I did that once. I had moved to Olympia while I was still in school, when I had just started going back to school, when I had gone to community college, because I had, like I said before, I had to start all over again because they weren't taking my credit. So from the 70s, for heaven's sake. Well, because I went to an all-girl Catholic college. Um, so I ended up doing a when I moved down to Olympia, I ended up doing a commute from Olympia, well, actually it's Lacey, to Tacoma to school every day and back three times a week, 3 times a week. I also was in a play, and the play was being rehearsed in Olympia. So basically, I would come all the way from, where my school was, all the way down there, and then not even go home, go to rehearsal at 6 o'clock. And I mean, it just drug me out. So today, what I was thinking about was, when I was thinking about the commute tomorrow, I am going to spend a lot of time each day commuting, and I'm not going to have a lot of time to sit around and do stuff like this. And that's why I'm kind of, doing it now. And I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to write, but you can always find a time to write. Also, my plan is I have two laptops. I'm going to take one to, because I was thinking about really getting rid of one. Well, actually, what I'm going to do I'm going to get a tablet at some point in time, and then I'm going to donate the other laptop to, they have this, where you can donate laptops. I mean, it's a piece of crap, but I mean, to some, Maasai Warriors kid, it'll be a great, advantage to have even that raggedy old thing. I had bought that for myself, the cheapest one they had. This one's the one I'm working on now. It's way better because my son got it for me. But I was thinking about the commute. I was thinking about, it's winter time. It's gonna be dark a lot. I'm not gonna, I'm thinking about the um different oh, what I was saying about the computer. I'm gonna take a computer to work, so that in case the old computer to work and leave it there just in case I want to do some writing, something comes to me, or to check my email and that kind of thing. I don't want to do that on company computer, so I want to do that. I was sitting here the other day thinking about the things that I needed to take to work for my office, because I fixed, even when I was working temporary. I mean, if I was just going to be somewhere a couple of weeks or something, I wouldn't take anything to make the office or the cubicle, whatever it was I had at the time, but I believe in, making it my space, making it my space. And one time when I was working for the state, I came to, see, I'm on a radio store. I don't know what that is. Um, I came to work one morning. I was working for the state of Washington. I came to work one morning and I had this raggedy radio I used to just put when I used to go into files, when I had to, do pull files or do stuff like that. And I had this radio that I just taken in, a raggedy radio. Came to work one morning and my radio was gone. It was because I always put it in my desk drawer. And I just forgot that day and left it on top of the desk. I must have left early or something, like quick or something like that. Something must have been up. We probably going somewhere to party or something. And um, I took the I left the radio on the desk. When I came back to work the next morning, I couldn't find it. So I just thought one of the kids had moved it, had taken it like I used to do into the file to work with. They were gone. Come to find out, everybody who had a radio, they were all stolen. And we couldn't figure out who, it had to have been the cleaning, crew or something like that. We couldn't figure out why. And come to find out, it's because they can sell the parts. Sell the parts. That's what I, you know how they chop shop cars. They do the same thing with um electronics and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, it was no big loss, but it was still, you know, kind of crazy that they would take my that they would take something like a raggedy, terrible, you know, raggedy um um radio like that. Why would you take it? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So what else was I talking about? Yeah, my stolen. Oh yeah, I was talking about the commute and how hard it's going to be. You know, after go because when you've been working for yourself, your time's your own. You can do whatever you want. I cannot possibly imagine after working that I'm going to come home and make any videos, which the world will probably appreciate it. Probably appreciate it. Oh my gosh, she's off YouTube. Thank goodness. But like I said, when I first started, hey, I'm a star. I got 40 hits. I got my own troll. I got 2 subscriptions. I'm a big time. But it's all for fun, and I found it very therapeutic to just sit here and do this. I mean, I've seen the time I could. There's no way I could have looked at myself like this. Um, I couldn't have made any videos like this. I couldn't have looked at myself, like this. I couldn't have played them back and looked at myself. It's just something that you know, stems from some abuse that I suffered as a child. So I wouldn't have been able to even do this. It took me a long time because my son wanted me to actually Skype with the and talk to my grandkids and stuff. And at first I was like, I don't know. Well, the main reason was I was gonna put on makeup every time. I was gonna Skype. And then and when I told him I was on YouTube, but I always said I was gonna go on YouTube and talk about the book. And when I told him that I was gonna, let the kids look at me on YouTube and I was gonna YouTube, and stuff like that. He was like, "Wow, that's a contradiction. You had said you didn't want to Skype." So, well, the only reason I didn't want to Skype was because I did not want to miss them so much, and I figured if I saw them, I really would miss them, too much. So I thought, it'd be better like this, but then it gets to the point where I don't even, they grow so fast. I have to tell my son, hey, send me pictures and stuff like that. Let me see. Yeah, like I was saying about the community, it's going to be very hard. Um, having a boss, having to do this, it's going to be kind of challenging to be interviewing and talking to people who are under stress. That was one of the questions they asked. How do you handle stress? That was one of the things they asked. People in those kind of jobs, those kind of positions just burn out. I mean, they just totally, that's why it's, turnover. They're just totally burnt out. They just can't handle anymore. But I'm going to try to keep everything in perspective. I'm going to try to pretty much um like I said, keep things in perspective, make sure I don't make sure I keep deadlines, in mind if I have that to do, not take personally, but you can't help when people are, in distress. You can't help feeling, for them. But also too, it's just like basically it's a lot like being a parent. You have to do what's best for your client. You can't fall apart and cry. I when I worked at the welfare office, oh, I did go in the bathroom and have a little weep, get myself together, put that Visine back in there, blow your nose and go back out. You don't let your client see that. But and especially with veterans, working with veterans, it's going to be especially with some of the PTSD that people have now. My era of service was post, Vietnam. She said, not making eye contact because she's lying, and pretty much, and the people that I served with, the officers and the gunnery sergeants and the top, the gentlemen who had been in a while, they had all been to Vietnam, a lot of them, and my commanding officer, and when I was in the Air Wing, my commanding officer and my executive officer, they were both pilots. And the squadron I was in was a Marine Corps Air Squadron. I was the only girl out. Spoiled or rotten. We finally got another girl just as I was getting ready to leave. I didn't like it one bit, but because I had all the attention. And I still, when I go to the VA, I make sure I wear something really nice, and if it's summertime, something girly and nice, so because fellas, they don't get, the military women that they deal with, they're all business. They don't have time for that nonsense. I mean, women in the military, I wore lipstick and makeup all the time when I was in the service. I had something, you know, grungy or grungy or under something like that to do, but otherwise, I tried to keep my femininity up, because you can't forget that stuff. So, and working with veterans, they have a lot. It's some of the, I go to the VA and some of those guys, their eyes and stuff are just so empty, and then they have service animals, and and I know this is funny at the VA. Every time they tell you something stupid, they stand there and wait for a minute. They don't tell you something dumb like, well, something really stupid, and then you stand there and go, and it's funny because they'll wait. And one time I know I went an appointment, and I got there like 5 minutes late or something like that, and the woman goes to me, oh well, you just made it in time, because if you were 10 minutes late, then we canceled the appointment. And I just looked at her like, oh, okay, well, I want you to tell you know one of those gentlemen that is still in Saigon that because he is 10 minutes late, you won't see him. I just want to be there. Okay, I don't want to take part. I just want to be standing there to see what happens. And I mean, not to make joke light of the things that happened to, and then to all the Vietnam vets, I like to say, welcome home. Um, and also to the young people, in that sand, when you get back here, and the irony of it is, it's very strange. They'll come back from deployment. Usually, our rotation tour date is a year. Now they just keep extending people. I extended myself when I was overseas, because when I was on Okinawa, that is, because I was trying to spend more time with my son's dad before I left. I was pregnant, at the time, and I was trying to spend some more time with my son's dad, because the military doesn't care. Hey, we're having a baby, unless you're married, they don't care. And even if you're married, they don't care about you having a baby. They don't give a dog about that. So it's not mission. And when I was in 77 to 81, they didn't care anything about women anyway. They didn't give a dog. You weren't supposed to be in their Marine Corps anyway. So I was trying to spend as much time with him as possible before I had to leave. I didn't want my son born on Okinawa, and I didn't want to have to extend, any longer than I already did, because I extended like 3 or 4 months. The rotation is a year, and I ended up spending 13, 14 months, something like that, on Okinawa. I Some of these people nowadays, they're soldiers nowadays, they'll just be told, hey, you're staying extra 6 months, or hey, they're all geared up to leave and stuff like that. And it's weird because it's a big, I said before, it's a big army base here. um and a deployment will come home, you know and they will it'll be about 2 weeks, just about 2 weeks, before there's either a murder or an attempted murder, or something goes, oh, the oven is hot, it's preheated, um, or some kind of violence, or something in base housing, or something crazy goes on when those drugs that they give you while you're in the military wear off. And we all know that they gave Vietnam vets, well, giving people drugs have gone back. World War II, they gave the Germans gave their infantrymen speed, well, what we would call speed meth, what we call meth nowadays, so that they could go and go and go and go, and not have to sleep. And I think that was a whole lot of the aggression that they had, how they could do some of the things they did. I never was no speed person. I don't need nothing. I don't need any. I don't need to be pepped up at all. Okay, anything I do, I need to be coming down. I did one time, when I was in college, the first time in the '70s, take some black beauties one night to stay up all night and type a paper, and I mean type on a typewriter, and I shook the whole time. So I realized, okay, now that doesn't go. I can't even drink caffeinated drinks. I can't drink coffee. I can't drink tea. I go nuts. So I need, because I'm, buzzing. So what I need is something to, bring me down, calm me down a little bit. I don't um, do any kind of, anything that I don't drink those energy drinks. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't eat a lot of sugar. I don't do it. Well, I've been eating a lot of candy lately because I've been under stress. So I've been trying to, when you're trying to make change, your body burns sugar really fast. So I've been eating a little bit more candy than I normally would. Um, And of course, we know in Vietnam they gave, besides the Agent Orange, that was the herbicide that they used, that the soldiers ingested. They also were experimenting with LSD and sleep deprivation and stuff like that. There's no telling what they're doing to those kids now. Because I know, when I was in boot camp, they were putting something in your food because you didn't think about sex the whole time you were in boot camp. And you would think that, eating three square meals a day, going to bed at 9, waking up at 4:30 in the morning, exercising every single day, classes every single day, no junk food, no pogey bait. That's what he used to call junk food. No sitting around watching TV. You know that um you'd be going nuts. Yeah, you'd be so healthy, you'd be going nuts. And that's always one of the things I can tell when I'm really healthy mentally and physically is a high sex drive, and you would think that you'd be going nuts. Never thought about it. Never thought about it. Well, for one thing, you saw men from across the parade. I mean, or at lunch, or when you were eating, if someone happened to be in the dining room or happened to be serving breakfast or something like that. But 99% of the time, you were so much in shock. I know I was. You weren't even really thinking about guys. That was the last thing on my mind. Um, I did meet a really nice guy. Well, I met my son's dad when I was overseas, but I also met, when I was stationed in South Carolina at the air station, I met the guy I should have married. I was too stupid. So Jesse, you're out there. I know you're married. You probably got 9 kids now. But if you ever see this, trust me. I know what I gave up. I know what I gave up, and I don't know, stupid, just stupid. Um, but then again, I wouldn't have met my son's dad, and then, my son wouldn't have been him. I mean, he'd have been a nice kid I'd have had, but, and I probably would have gotten out of the service very early. As it was, when I got out, my enlistment was actually up. I, my, early release, my DD 214 says early release, but it was only 15 days, early release. I served 3 years, 11 months, and 15 days. I served my whole enlistment with too much trouble. Not too much trouble. A little bit of trouble. Yeah, a little bit of trouble once in a while. I was talking about, yeah, the deployment, and also, and when the guys come home and the women come home, usually it's the men though a lot. You don't hear too much of it of women. Um, about 2 weeks, something happens. Something, something violent happens, or, somebody, or suicide or something like that, and I just, that PTSD, it's just, brutal, and it's bad. So I am gonna I'm gonna have my dinner, and then I'm going to look over these videos, and then I'm going to want to say hi to my Japanese folks. I want to say hi to my son. I want to say go magic. I want to say go Trions. I want to say go dragonflies. I also want to say once again happy birthday to my daughter-in-law. It's the 21st there. Um, and I'm gonna go because it's 1944, 45, 46, and I don't want it to go over. So I'll probably post these tonight, maybe a couple of them. So see you guys later.